Hello and welcome to Campaign Comrades, your favorite leftist gaming podcast. Folks, it is the end of April, or almost the end of April. We are recording this ourselves earlier than normal, and it would be an early episode release for the end of the month. So, of course, I'm assuming that, like, earth-shattering gaming news, like GTA 6 new trailer gets shadow dropped next week, something ridiculous like that is going to completely blow it up. Because we kind of were scraping the bottom of the barrel for a portion of our news stories this week because, or I should say for this month, because April has largely just been dominated by the few major stories, which I'm sure you all know. And of course, I'm referring to the fact that we now we, the cultured few, finally have a video game adaptation that we can look forward to. The Split Fiction adaptation has its first casting announcement.
Can I say it?
Yeah, go for it. So you're the one who brought it to our attention.
Make sure I got nothing in my teeth. Can't be putting bad juju on her name. It's the beautiful, the wonderful, the Sydney Sweeney, folks. We lost Matt. Matt's computer crashed. The China they came from.
That's so perfect. Oh my god.
But yeah, Sydney Sweeney got cast in the live action Split.
I don't think they've said any details about it, which, again, it's so funny that that's a game that has already got an adaptation, particularly for a game that had a story that was not very good. Folks, go check out Andrew and my review of Split Fiction up on our YouTube channel. Who do you think she plays? Does she play Mio or...
She has to be Zoe.
But Zoe's British.
Yeah, she's gonna be doing an accent.
They're gonna have
a British accent.
How could they cast her as Mio? Come on.
I mean, it's Hollywood, right? They can't market a brown person as one of their leads. Come on, we're talking about two women here. They're already down several points for that one. So
yeah,
I was honestly thinking that they're gonna have her do Mio.
No, I'm assuming it's Zoe and she's going to be doing a British accent, or they just don't make either of them British. They just move the location to the United States.
I do not see Sydney Sweeney as a fantasy author, as an aspiring fantasy, as a fan, connoisseur, consumer, producer of genre fiction. I don't see it. See it.
Do you see sci-fi?
I count that as genre fiction too, and no, I don't. So no, it's a very, very funny bit of casting. For the hornies out there. You know what else is for the hornies out there? More breaking news that just came across the docket. They're doing the full size plushes for, it's the whole evolution, right, of
yeah,
Eevee.
It's all of them. All
Eevee,
7.
Eevee, Vaporeon, Flareon.
Well, yeah, so 8 with Eevee. Yeah,
They
Vaporeon, Jolteon,
that's the other one.
Flareon, Leafeon, Glaceon, Umbreon, Espeon.
Fuck, I joined
Sylveon.
back for this conversation.
He was trying to be strategic in his
Yeah, it wasn't even a
jumping
crash.
off.
I just closed it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. The
It was
Pokemon
great.
company,
That was one of the best
what they're
crashes
doing.
I've had in a long time. Your voice just became the Matrix and just became infinitely modulated.
But yeah, they know exactly what they're doing. They know who they're catering to. I saw
Emotionally lonely millennials.
I saw a great meme, is putting the headers on Robert Pattinson's The Batman and the Riddler with like the regular Pokemon fans. What have you done? And just the Pokemon company just starting to sing Ave Maria.
Amazing.
What have you done? I can't keep defending you. It's gone to the dogs. To the
Isn't
submissive
there
and
an
breedable
entire
Pokemon.
Batman YouTube skit around the Joker and I think it's who's the fairy psychic type Gardevoir?
Yes.
No, I think the one you're thinking of it's Lopunny.
Yeah, there it is.
It's Lopunny. Yeah, the guy transforms into the Joker with a Pokeball. Because it's a cosplayer in a Lopunny cosplay, and it's like starting off all wholesome, and then turns into the Joker with a Pokeball. Man, you see what I'm saying? This is the news that we had to
Truly.
that we had to bring to you folks.
This is the
real
important stuff we
important stuff,
wanted.
yeah.
We wanted the viewers to know, the listeners to know. You could go out and order them.
I do not prescribe to this
No, Matt does. He
was the one who sent it to the
pre-ordered.
chat. Yeah,
That's
he's the one
because
who's-
he wants to
No,
be
I sent
able
it.
to
Yeah, I
just
want to be able
order
to hoard them all for myself.
Yeah, he's worried about scalping. That's what's happening. This is
No,
gatekeeping.
I'm going to be the scalper. I'm going to buy them all and then sell them to emotionally lonely millennials at premium prices.
Speaking of scalping, to our actual news of the day, what happened with the Switch 2 pre-orders? What's
Hold
going
this
on?
L, everyone who lives in populated places, rural places, constantly winning is what happened.
At least for it was for Walmart, right?
Yeah, Walmart handles their pre-orders based on your local store.
It seemed like Best Buy was going to do something similar because it was the only one that we'll get into each of our experiences. So, because jumping a bit to the end, Matt and I were both able to pre-order a Switch 2, and our experiences were different, and we got them through different retailers.
Yeah, extremely different circumstances because I woke up delirious at 11:50 after falling asleep to be up at 4 a.m.
Speaking to your an Indian customer service representative to unblock his card from a
That
fraud
was at
warning.
3 a.m.
Okay. So give us like the full breakdown then, just of what.
I mean, every retailer essentially said they were starting their orders at midnight, except for GameStop, because GameStop's website's already borked and broken as is. Imagine running it in the one time that they don't have like IT staff on server coverage.
I mean, that's just because the most of their IT staff is working on.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. I'm mining Bitcoin, so
They've moved most of their server strength over to the Bitcoin mines. So Target launched immediately at midnight, and Ben's experience was it immediately fucked everything up.
But that's where I ended up getting mine, was through
Yeah.
Target.
Persistence is key with these things. You can't just give up the second you see that it looks like it's broken. You got to keep trying.
Because here was my thing. So like I follow several of like the gurus, the tech gurus.
Wario 64.
They're a little different, but
He was dropping links left and right, from what I understand.
yeah, no, they do that, but like there are.
I guess I
certain
shouldn't
people-
assume Wario 64 very well could be a lady or a non-binary person.
Or it could. My thoughts is that it might just be like it might be a group. I don't necessarily know it's an
Collective.
individual. Yeah.
We are Wario.
But there are like some people who are like quote unquote journalists, like they've got like their Substack newsletter and everything, that have built their entire careers off of aiding people in acquiring tech. So they cemented this niche during the PS5.
for the PS5, yeah,
For the
dude.
PS.
Those dudes blew up.
And same thing. So like I've got their accounts open. I'm looking at their what are the best
You
practices.
had the full like at-home day trader setup going on, where you had every monitor with different things pulled up.
I had Best Buy on one. I had Walmart on the main because everything had been telling me that Walmart was going to be the most reliable.
Yeah, Walmart was goated.
And then Target was on my vertical monitor. The one that I've written that one off. We'll see what happens.
I love how when it comes to pre-order stuff, any form of like my moral obligation to not shop at Walmart just goes immediately out the window.
They were the only ones who were guaranteeing a delivery by release day. But so everything I had read was like,
Wait, really?
yeah, they're like they have a guaranteed
everything
delivery
else
on
will
release
generally
day.
have the note that it'll ship by release day.
Yeah. So mine is like estimated between the 5th and the 11th now. But so everyone's like, Walmart seems to have the most stock. Walmart and Best Buy will both have queues. And Target is going to be a free-for-all. There's no queue, no nothing whatsoever. It will be botted to
'Cause
hell.
they need the
most
money.
likely. So, well, they just don't have the infrastructure for that. They don't have, that's like not their main thing. So,
Yeah, generally speaking, Target doesn't see the types of like influx of rush demand orders where they would be like, we need to have a queue system built and ready to go.
yeah, I mean, what you could say you could say similar about Walmart, but like they have shifted in
Walmart.
that direction.
They're able to get everything down
But
when
Best
they
Buy
need to.
is a consumer electronics thing. That's their.
They understand launches, even if they don't want to
even if
anymore.
even if they still fuck it up.
Yeah, I
So
really appreciated being told by their reps days in advance that they were going to open at midnight And then to find out
No.
afterwards when I woke up the secondary time that it was like 12:35.
I tricked you, which you think is pretty funny because that way they'd be like, maybe we'll reduce traffic by people are going to go nuts. They're going to go crazy. They're going to blow their wads on the ones that actually go live at 12. And that way we can maybe have a little bit
Funny
more
part
control.
was if I had just stayed frustrated for 10 more minutes, I would have been there when it went live. But I got annoyed and then went back to bed at like 12:20ish.
But so back to my gurus, they were like at 11:57, start refreshing every 10 seconds.
Every 10 seconds.
Yeah, because particularly for the ones that were supposed to go into a queue, you want to make sure that you're getting into the queue as soon as possible.
Yeah, I watched the Best Buy page break in real time because I refreshed like a couple minutes early to make sure that all of my account info was logged in properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I've got my timer sitting there down to the second. I'm looking. I drag the window at like 11:59 and 58 seconds and just watch the bar move like an eighth of an inch to load and then just stop
and then just crater.
Not move.
Did you have to do on Walmart the press and hold to prove that you're a human?
I did have to do a CAPTCHA, but it wasn't press and hold. So it was just
mine wasn't.
I'm not a robot.
Mine wasn't a CAPTCHA like that. Mine was this new one where you have to press and hold a button and it fills a bar and it's supposed to, the buffering thing happens. So that was new. But then I've got several pages open with different bundles even at each retailer. Every time, Walmart is just busted. It's just not working. Directly at 12. Every time I'm having to do the press and hold thing, the authentication, my PC started running like a fucking jet engine. I knew it was the case because I would close the tab and it would quiet back down. It was literally going to blow up my PC trying to prove that I was human. I don't know what was going on there.
It was the Kingsman rage frequency.
It was nuts. But I could just hear my fans just increasing exponentially. But so I'm refreshing Target immediately at 12. And I texted these guys at 12 on the dot. It refreshes, page says sold out. And my first instinct, because of what I had read beforehand, was to believe that that's true, because it's like, oh, they don't have any protections in place. This was just completely botted. It took, scalpers.
It just ended up being a broken page.
It was just broken.
Took
and then the page,
everything.
And then the page was continued. So then maybe like 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, it's starting to say pre-order. You can pre-order, add to cart. I'm able to get it into the cart and I'm able to progress, but that each step that I'm progressing, again, while still progressing, I'm getting error messages. None of my account information is being retained. It still has me logged in. Like I didn't have to do anything like that. But I had to re-put in shipping, my credit card, all that. So all that stuff is just breaking. I eventually, again, I'm able to progress. It's still in my cart. I'm able to get to checkout, to place order, and I'm just getting errored out each time. And so I'm still going at all the other retailers, just going back and forth, refreshing the cart. Removed it from the cart at one point and almost lost it, but then was able to get it back in the cart into the same place. And just erroring out over and over and over again. And then by about 12:40, just on a random attempt, it goes through while I'm still waiting at some of the others. And it goes through and I don't immediately get a confirmation email. I do get a temporary, a pending charge on my credit card. So I'm like, okay, maybe. But then I'm seeing reports under all these guru posts being like, I checked out, I got it, but then it canceled my order 2 minutes later. And I'm like, and that's happening at every retailer. And I'm like, oh my God, I just closed every other tab. No. So I haven't gotten the confirmation. And then eventually 20 years, 15
I'd like to
minutes
compare
later.
and contrast the stressful things you went through and how relatively easy my experience was.
Yeah.
I woke up for 10 minutes before midnight, got my phone prepped. I was only going to buy it from Best Buy because I had all of my Best Buy points ready to chip in. Midnight rolls around. I see that the page is just continuing to say coming soon. So I'm like, okay, it's broken. It's been sold out already. That's it. Game over. I give up because Ben sent that text saying that Target was already sold out. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to bed. I was like, I'll just wait for the My Nintendo thing because I'm sure I'll get an email from them about that. And I go to sleep. I then wake up at 2:45 in the morning because I'm an aging millennial who has to take a piss every night in the middle of the night.
Sucks.
Get up and take my piss. And I'm like, I might as well just like check. And I open up Walmart and it goes right to the page immediately. No load, no breaking things. And there's just a pre-order button there. I'm like, what do you mean there's just a pre-order button there? And I hit it and it just goes right into my cart. And I'm like, holy shit, it just worked. It's like, quick, get the Pro Controller in there. And like scramble to get the Pro Controller pulled in and put up. I'm like, okay, it's in there. I can just check out. I hit checkout. I'm like, okay, yep, address is there. I'm not sending it to Montpelier by accident this time. You know, it's got my info. I've just got to, update my payment info because the last time I used Walmart, my payment info that was saved in there has expired like 6 years ago. So I type in my new info for my card, hit the button to go, and it's like, can't process your payment. And then I get the text on my phone that's like, hey, we detect fraud because someone's using your card to buy like $550 worth of stuff from Walmart at 2:30 in the morning. And I'm like, no, it's valid. And I respond back in all caps, valid, like you're supposed to. And the text just reads, can't read your response. You have to call this number. So I'm, okay, I press the number, frantically call in, get all my info pushed through, get to a person. It's a barely speaking English Indian man. He was very friendly. I give him a lot of credit. And he was just like,
did you stay on the line to answer the survey after the end on his
absolutely
performance?
I need to go to bed. And he like understands my issues and he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to like help you push this through, and like activates my card.
I thought for a second Matt was going to do the accent.
No, I'm smarter than that. The only accent I will ever do on this podcast is Eastern European accent, yes. My name Boris. He pushes me through, my card activates. I was really annoyed because usually when my card frauds like that, I can fix it through the app. But the app just was like, nah, dog, text only this time. I go back to the webpage, hit go, processes right through, confirmation email, charge on credit card, and then boom, right back to fucking sleep. Immediately. Conked out.
I mean, that still sounds pretty stressful, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, but that was just because my card decided to do the rightful thing and notify me that someone was using it at 2:30 in the morning to buy $600 worth of stuff at Walmart. Like, I'm not going to get mad at them for flagging fraud there, of all times.
I did also say I got my console. You just got the console, right? You didn't get. I got the console bundle?
And a Pro Controller, and then the next day I used a bunch of my Best Buy points and bought Mario Kart World and a carrying case.
So I bought the cart bundle, so save $30 on cart. That's going to be a forever game on the console anyway. So going digital, while never my preference, save $30, save $30. So I get the cart bundle on Target, and then I did get my.
What do you mean save $30?
So the Switch 2 and Mario Kart World bundle is $500.
Yeah.
So it costs you $50 to add Mario Kart World in the bundle. Mario Kart World is $80 standalone. Okay. So if you buy Mario Kart World and Switch 2 by themselves, it's $530.
Right. Okay. But what then?
Because you're gonna buy there's a physical
version.
No, it's digital. It's just digital.
Isn't it all digital though?
No, when you buy the bundle, it's digital. You can buy a physical version, which is what I did,
and that's $80. And to buy a digital standalone is also
still $80.
It's still $80. But getting the bundle saved me $30.
Yeah.
They're absolutely doing
that's crazy.
They are absolutely doing the calculus that Mario Kart World bundle is going to be the higher selling unit. And I think the statistics back that up. I think because I saw that GameStop stores, because GameStop opened up the next day at 11 in the morning, and GameStop stores for physical pre-orders, letting people walk in and pre-order them, had a piece of paper taped on their doors that told you how many units.
I was just going to say, did you see that in the entirety of Manhattan, there were 55 Switch 2s available? That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
That's because Manhattan has like 2 functioning GameStops.
And one, actually it's really only one. Apparently there's one, was there one near Penn Station that doesn't work? That's been
a bunch of Knicks fans took it over after the first playoff win and
I've been trying to find that GameStop.
They made it into the next Chaz.
Yeah.
The map says there's a GameStop. I can't seem to find it. So either I'm really dumb, which very well could be, the problem, or it doesn't exist.
The general split seemed to be that retail stores were going 1/3 standalone bundle, 2/3 Mario Kart bundle.
Can't really call it a bundle if it's just a console.
I don't care. It's got 2 Joy-Cons and a grip.
A grip.
You know, it was really funny as I'm going through the same experiences. I'm on Twitter. I'm refreshing, looking at like latest posts, seeing where stock is flowing. I really am doing the day trader thing. I'm watching the lines go. But then I see the man himself, Jeff Keighley, being like, "God damn, this target line is brutal. It keeps removing itself from my cart." And so people are responding, "If Jeff can't even get a copy, we're all fucking
But did you
we're
see
done.
that?
We're cooked,
Did you see Sakurai won a unit in the Japanese lottery?
dude. Rigged. I mean, the man deserves it. Never. What am I saying?
I was absolutely scrolling through Reddit the next day with a sense of superiority on all the people who couldn't get some. As I'm just sitting there like, my rural bumfuck ass was able to order it because my Walmart has 12 people who understand what gaming is that shop there. The amount of times that Walmart has saved my ass on like hotly pre-ordered games that I was just able to walk into the store and just grab a copy off the shelf.
I am
on launch day.
I am annoyed. I had two options here that I really wanted to try, and so when Best Buy went live, I did get back in line to try, or I tried to get in line to see if I could get one there and cancel the one at Target, because originally I was like, Target was going to be an acceptable option because I have somebody in my family has like a Target card thing that like would give me a 5% off, just flat rate. But because of all the error shit that was happening, the only thing I could get recognized is like my credit card that I'm manually inputting. None of the saved payment options in the account were being recognized.
Nah, get fucked.
So I had to, and it being delivered, I have to pay tax because me living so close to the border of New Hampshire, I always opt when I can to buy things in New Hampshire to avoid sales tax.
You should probably not say that on a recording because Vermont's going to go after you for tax evasion.
They only care if you're doing something like buying a car.
Yeah,
Literally, like when
consoles are about to be a hot commodity item.
You should
it's
just
like
ship
going
it
to
your
Canada
dad's
to buy
office.
medicine now.
But so I was going to try to do Best Buy because I was kind of saying earlier, but I trailed off, that Best Buy was looking like they were doing locally as well. It was the only one, even Walmart. None of them were giving me any other option besides ship. Best Buy was having the option of, being able to pick up in store. I get all my games from the Best Buy in
the final interesting
the
aspect of all
of
this was the Bloomberg article the next day of Nintendo Switch 2 tracking to sell somewhere between 6 to 9 million in launch week.
Yeah, it's what all the analysts were saying. Yeah, they said something like 6 to 8. Yeah,
largest launch week
6
console.
to 9. That's a better number.
What's the deal with the Japan pre-orders? What was going on there? They broke the Japan system.
Yeah.
Was it like 2.2 million people?
2.2 million alone people had put into the Japanese lottery for them.
And they're like, we're not going to be able to meet demand even in our home country.
And the
no
interesting
shit,
part
it's
of that
$100
is,
cheaper.
well, there's a little more nuance to it than just the raw convert yen to English dollars because of how weak the yen's buying power is. There's some interesting math you have to do there based on average monthly income. It's better to look at it as a percentage of income than just a raw conversion rate. But yeah, I'm sorry. Did I bore you with my math speak?
Nerd.
Yeah, guess what? It's real. No, it's going to be very interesting to see how, because obviously I sent it to Ben. I was like, I was really enjoying the amount of seething going on the next day about people who were like, there was definitely a small, very vocal minority contingent that were expecting Switch 2 to be somewhere along the lines of like a Wii U style failure, which is just in a massive amount of like.
It's weird.
We were saying that was going to be the case if they had to raise the price. Yeah. I think we were in a completely different, reality if they had raised the price. And that was a big reason. And I think that's a huge reason why if anything, they probably sold more than they would have
because there was a very
because of the
ambiguous
uncertainty. Because of the uncertainty.
On we aren't raising prices for now.
Yeah, and people are who like maybe were on the fence of like, yeah, $450 is expensive. They're like, it's cheap. It's fucking cheap now, compared to when it's gonna be later. The uncertainty, the FOMO, definitely drove more people to buy it now. I absolutely think that that's true. It's just like in retrospect, you get this feeling that that you're saving money because of the fear of what it's going to be eventually. It's never going to be cheaper, I'll tell you that much. The price is only going to go up. We're never getting cheaper consoles ever again.
Yes, folks, but we have to punish China.
China's like, yes, Daddy, punish me harder.
Yes, Daddy Trump.
It's a good thing most Switch 2s there's like a split between Chinese and Vietnamese made ones, and America got a bulk of the Vietnamese made ones.
They're already here?
Yeah.
They had shipped in a lot of them. Well, they had onboarded a lot of them.
But the overall success won't be based off of launch week. It's obviously longevity of sales. Because you're not going to hit 150 million like you did with Switch 1. Lightning in a bottle doesn't hit like that twice in a row. You're probably more likely to see something in the lines of the PS5, PS4 sales totals, where you'll end somewhere in the 100 to 120-ish million range would be probably the expected area.
It was a shit show, though, I will say.
I mean, that's every launch is going to be that way from now on. I really enjoy the people who are posting just pictures of a pre-order on eBay.
Pictures of a pre-order.
And the description explicitly says, this is a picture of a pre-order. You are buying a picture of a pre-order.
It's, better than an NFT, baby. If they're actually sending me the printout, their LaserJet printout of their pre-order, that's something I can hold in my hands.
Hey man, the ink involved in printing out that picture, it's probably like $40.
Yeah, man, Nintendo, what are they doing here? It's they have us eating out of the palm of their hands. But yeah, Andrew, you prepared when Duskbloods releases and is a must play, and you got to spend $650 on a Switch 2?
Listen, man,
he's already
I don't know that the global
makeup.
Economy will exist at that point based on how things have been.
He's already putting the clown makeup on when GTA 6 launches and PS5 Pro is the only place that gets 60 frames per second.
No.
And PS5 Pro is going to cost $1,000.
Joy.
Don't care. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not super...
When Duskbloods launches with a Metacritic 99 rating and it resets the entire sphere of multiplayer gaming...
If it does that, then I'm prepared to pay for my punishment.
But when From Software, notorious company who has dogshit multiplayer servers, combines with Nintendo's dogshit peer-to-peer servers...
It's two negatives canceling each other out.
Will it be like the wonders of electrical engineering where the square root of -1 makes everything work?
Maybe.
That's not a real number.
Yeah, it's called an imaginary number, and it makes the entirety of electrical engineering function.
That's not real. You can't convince me that's real.
You think I'm lying?
Oh my God, he admitted it. Imaginary.
You've imagined it.
Yeah, you use a variable to represent it as I, because writing the square root of -1 makes you look regarded.
Do you think this
electrical
idea
engineering is
that...
black magic? Yes.
Well, electric is magic.
Electricity
is magic.
I've known of
we've already said
that for a while.
Do we think that this supposed third-party interest in getting games onto this new Switch 2 because of the better hardware has a legitimate chance at threatening Sony in any way?
I think it's less about Sony until Sony has their own method of getting into a handheld space. Which there are rumors about a handheld PS6 that's lower tier PS5, not a PS5 power because it's going to be handheld, but lower tier PS5 capable. No, what you're really going to see is it's going to kick down on handheld PC market is what I would expect, because that's where you get a lot of the third party handheld experience right now. Even though in launch week alone, Switch 2 is going to sell more than lifetime all handheld PCs combined.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Switch 2's docked performance really isn't all that far behind current gen gaming.
I mean, you're seeing some games, at 4K 4K 60 docked.
I mean, it's going to mostly be Nintendo first-party titles that are pulling that off. Anything made by Monolith Software.
Like Cyberpunk is going to get like 40 frames in
Cyberpunk is
performance
heavily
mode.
relying on DLSS.
Yeah. They're going to get they're targeting 40 frames in performance mode. So
I do think that the third-party support will have an effect, though. I think that companies signaling that we are putting our bigger third-party titles on Switch this far in advance shows a confidence and willingness that should pull people into the ecosystem a little bit more. Obviously, Switch 1, when it launched, was a bit of a unknown quantity because, you know, Wii U sucked. What is Nintendo going to do? So Nintendo had to really bolster that first launch year with just banger after banger after banger and then 1-2 Switch. For the Switch 1.
This is almost a bit of a retread of argument that we kind of had in our last episode, our last like news episode, where I see their reasoning. Like a lot of, I've heard in interviews with developers that they're like, yes, we are more on board with and want to be on board with the Switch 2 and getting our stuff onto Switch 2 because they see it as an untapped audience, that they view Nintendo as the Nintendo audience as untapped potential.
I mean,
but then you get to
Switch 1 was 150 million people, even if you
and yes, so think about it at Switch 1, right? That argument tracks with Switch 1. Switch as this, and this is where the break will come, as the kind of the budget friendly console was the entry point for the casual. There were people who were picking this up because it wasn't that expensive, that they were picking it up to play Animal Crossing, Pokemon, you know, they're picking it up for like a game, Mario Kart, you know, it's not an unreasonable thing to buy that thing for the one thing, and they're not going to play anything else. And they don't care that there wasn't third-party support for all these other games because they're playing what they want to.
Generally speaking, that's just been Nintendo fandom in general. You buy a Nintendo console to play Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey,
and in no way is that is a majority of those people going to then buy these third-party games. But there would be enough of them that would be like, I've played my Animal Crossing. I'm seeing something in the news.
I'm going to play Elden Ring.
The leap, it seems wild on its face, but
I was picking the craziest thing.
Yeah, exactly. But they would be more willing to be like, I've made my entry, the Switch was my entryway. Maybe I want to dabble in some other things. And so that kind of back and forth makes sense.
The interesting point being that right now,
there is a market for them. But the Switch 2,
even at $450, the Switch 2 is still, relatively speaking, one of the cheaper entry points, especially for a handheld.
It absolutely is, but the problem is it's the unknown question. I don't have the final answer. I think I lean a certain way. It's not about looking at it necessarily in comparison to the other consoles. It's more about, has it jumped the shark to the point where it is just, even though it's cheaper, it is not cheap enough to still be that entry point where that casual person is going to be like, no, that's too expensive for me to...
We have a little bit of data to back this up, though. Xbox Series S is the cheapest entry point into quote-unquote modern gaming.
But I think calling it an entry point is wrong for what, Ben, you're trying to explain. I mean,
Series S combined with Game Pass is the number one way to get someone...
Yeah, I just don't think the person...
Different people.
I don't think the demographics are exactly one-to-one.
What I think, Ben, you're trying to say is the millennial that bought a Switch to play Pokemon, or because it had the Switch online where they could access the games of their childhood and play multiplayer games with friends that, you know, they had played before. You could play N6.
It's the party game machine.
Yes, exactly. And people buying it just for parties, just to play.
For babies, because Nintendo's for babies.
He just had to throw that in there.
He says that because he's not emotionally mature enough to play the Xenoblade Chronicles series.
He's not ready. He's not ready to have his heart broken into a million pieces.
I love you and all you guys.
So I think calling that an entry point buy for those type of people is the wrong term, because they're a buy one and they're done. You know, that just sits and becomes the party thing. You know, they only play Mario Kart when friends are over, or you know, maybe they pay the Switch Online, you know, monthly subscription, but and it's probably because they forgot that they did it for a party.
I
one
still
time.
sell Switch Online in a monthly subscription.
Yeah,
it's $20 a year. Like that's such
or
a
whatever it is. But you know what I mean.
Well, that it's only that cheap for us because we do the family.
no.
Plan.
The base
But the
Switch Online
single
is
is,
$20 a year.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. Never mind. Retracted.
But like, you know, that those people aren't playing any other games. It's it's collecting, their Switch collects dust until the one time a year that they have friends over now, because they're, you know, so what you're trying to say, and I agree with, is Switch 2 may not have that same effect, especially with the Switch 1 still having all of those same features. Like, you know, it's not the leap from, you know, the DS or the Wii U.
It would have to be what the continued support for Switch 1 is going to be.
But even
To get
those same
to
people,
even really consider it.
if they have Mario Kart 8, they don't fucking care that it's not the newest one. They're just drunk, you know, millennials playing it with their friends. Like, the Switch 1 will still have that capability.
And it's
So they don't need to buy the Switch 2.
Well, so the point is that like if the Switch 2 was priced similarly in that same way, maybe they would be like, yeah, okay, I can buy it. I can justify to myself that I'm only going to play this when my friends are coming over.
Still a
So yeah,
small
I'll buy
amount.
the new one. That's cool. It's like, because then, you know, maybe the new Animal Crossing comes out and it's only on, like, when...
What
I
is
do
the
think
what
that
does the
using
Switch
Animal
cost?
Crossing as a reference is a bad choice, because Animal Crossing fans are crazy enough that they will always buy the new one to get the next.
But the Switch
He's
1
talking about the casual
introduced a new
Yeah.
audience.
I don't think
And-
Animal
it
Crossing
made-
fans count as casual when
ma-
it sells like
it made
54
them
million
rabid.
units.
It made them
Yeah.
rabid.
But
They
and-
didn't start that way.
And the
No, they've
Switch
been rabid
2,
since GameCube.
No, I know those people exist. I'm saying the
but no,
explosion
so-
of people.
because COVID, the Animal Crossing.
People who had never played a
bundle-
game outside of their cell phone
Yes.
before, you know, or
Yes,
are
and so
playing
people,
Animal Crossing.
tons of people bought Switches
None of-
during COVID.
and it's like those
There's a
people don't-
spike there
Those people
that is
still
not going to
don't-
happen for 2.
And those people still don't consider themselves to be quote unquote gamers.
Yeah.
Whereas Switch 2 is trying to market itself to gamers. And they're like, that's too expensive. I don't like use it that much. The calculus just isn't there.
What was the price of a Switch?
It
300.
launched at $299.
What's the OLED?
350.
$350, yeah. Which is wild to me that they made that level of an upgrade for only $50. Man, what a time! None of this has been to say that I still think it's going to be successful. That has obviously been proven out by the point. It's just like, it's more to your argument, Matt, that like, no, there's no way this is going to reach Switch 1 numbers.
No.
Not at all.
I mean, I don't think anyone would expect that, at least anyone on the business end of things. You have to be realistic when looking at, and like they would
Sure.
probably be looking at a market being like, okay, the PS4 sold 112 million units in its lifetime. PS5 is on pace to sell roughly that same amount. So that seems to be the upper limit of the mid-high tier gaming console like realm. So if you sell 100 to 110 million, you're in the good area. Xbox sold, I think it was 57 million Xbox Ones in its lifetime. They're at something like 30-ish million, 27-ish million series consoles sold right now. So if you're Nintendo, you look at that as the absolute bottom. It's one of those where it's like, okay, if we only sell, I think series is projecting to finish somewhere in like the 48 to 50.
Japan
total.
would see like a decline in their population if
I mean, it wouldn't just be.
it only
It would
sold
be more
that
than
many.
just a decline in their population. It would be an entire national GDP drop because
Yeah, they would
Nintendo really carries
go
their.
into a depression.
Nintendo is the shadow government.
For sure.
Of
It's
Japan.
Nintendo, Toyota, and Suzuki.
Yeah. I think there's no question that it's going to scrape the 100 million, or, you know, hit the 100 million. Having COVID spike for the Switch 1
Yeah,
was a
we're gonna have
huge
another
hit.
pandemic, and it's gonna be fucking measles.
But do
God, shut
do
up.
the investors consider that to be a success or a failure, though? That's the
Well, I
interesting
mean,
thing.
At
Yeah, it's all the calculus of, you know, how much they spent, you know, what they're getting back, but you know. all the other units that they
At
sell. with it.
$450 at 110 million units sold, that's $49
It's a lot of
billion.
monies. It's a lot of money.
But that could be 50 billion, you know?
$300 at 150 million units sold is $45 billion. So at 110 million units sold, they would make an additional $500 million at the current price point. And obviously, you have to account for sales and price drops and
Not going to be any price drops. That's the whole
but
thing.
like that's the number
not
I'm
gonna
using.
happen.
Raw $300 for the Switch 1, not accounting for bundle prices, holiday prices.
Okay.
At 150 million units sold is $45 billion. So I'm pretty sure 110 million units sold at the current price point would probably be viewed as a, relatively speaking, financial success.
Sure, but like we know how twisted executive brains are, right? Like if it's about
it's
the
a
same,
different.
the same is a failure. You know, it needs to be
Nintendo
more.
notably had their CEO take a pay cut during the Wii U period, not to.
Yeah, but that guy doesn't work there anymore.
No, but
Iwata does not work there anymore.
I'm sure investors are
died.
taking into
Yeah,
account.
he's not
That's
there
a little
anymore.
bit different.
But he's not there anymore. The culture is
Actually,
different.
his ghost is there.
If you'd played Breath of
Reggie
the
is
Wild,
still-
you would
Reggie
know that
is
they
still
did a
hanging out in
touching
the
tribute to
kitchen.
him on Iwata Mountain.
Are you unfamiliar with the Luigi Mansion series? He exists.
Reggie is still in the corporate kitchen eating spaghetti. I was going to say we've talked about Nintendo a lot, but we've got more Nintendo. Again, proving that the culture of Nintendo is not the same anymore. Our resident legal scholar, tell us what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, let me.
No,
pull
this
up.
is classy. This is Classico Nintendo. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But
This barely even counts as classic Nintendo. This is more idiot defendant than.
But this is just
Yeah.
also so petty in my mind. Like,
Yeah.
It
what
is
does-
very petty.
What does this amount to?
$17,000 for Nintendo.
Can I explain?
Yeah.
Can I explain? No one ever wants to listen to the lawyer.
No, we don't.
No.
Never.
If
I
ever
know
have a
better
lawyer,
than you.
they're like, "Shut
I
the
know
fuck
better.
up."
Literally,
I mean,
my
shut
clients.
the fuck up, lawyer. I don't pay you to tell me what to do. That's what Shannon Sharp was doing on ESPN all week.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah, that's
paid. I
literally
pay you to
my day.
defend what I do.
Yeah. That is fucking.
I have the Constitution in my pocket right now. Do you?
all my clients think they're sovereign citizens.
Are they,
They
not?
don't know what that word means, but they think it.
I have the full license plate. You literally can't pull me over.
All right. So, Nintendo, they love going after Switch content. That's really only, other than some of like the Pal World stuff or whatever, but like as streamers go and like emulated gaming, they're really
It's
only
interesting
ever
you use the term emulated and not direct piracy, as someone who was playing Switch titles before release exclusively pirated, and then
Allegedly.
bragging about it.
Say,
And
allegedly.
then bragging about it.
so
you can't prove that.
Yes, I can.
I don't know what
There's
you're
literal
talking
Twitch
about.
footage of him bragging about it.
So they've only gone after that and then like the Dolphin emulator for GameCube games.
No, wasn't it Yuzu, because they were charging?
No, Yuzu was Switch. Dolphin was
They closed that shit down, but they did something with it was either Dolphin or didn't they do something to Citra too?
yes.
Citra was also Switch.
No, Citra's 3DS.
It was 3DS.
Citra's
I
It
haven't
ran on
seen
the-
any of like the Pokemon
There's
gamers
something it was
doing...
derivative. It was like derivative off of Dolphin or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I think whatever. It's unimportant details of that, but they go after the new like they're really going hard after the Switch content. So this one streamer, Jesse Cahan, I have no clue who this person is. Oh, so it's
Every
online.
game guru
every game,
is,
every
is
game
their
guru.
handle.
Nintendo did what, their lawyers told them to do, or they told their lawyers to do. Who knows how their relationship goes. Sent cease and desist letters, when ignored. So then finally filed a lawsuit, sent a complaint. I would like to point out the legal journalism around this. And by legal journalism, it's terrible. I don't even have a word. I don't have a funny joke for it. It's just no one understands how to report on legal matters. So the article that I saw reporting on it talks about what was a motion for default judgment, which was granted as like the complaints. It's just completely backwards. I
Quick
won't
point
go
of
on a further
clarification.
rant.
Was this filed by Nintendo of America in American courts?
Yeah, it's in American courts. Nintendo of America, they filed it in Colorado district, federal court in Colorado, and he defaulted, the defendant, meaning he didn't show up, he didn't formally answer by filing anything. He just ignored it, and you don't want to ignore it because
No, life has
Nintendo
told
their
me that if you just pull the sheets over your head, nothing can happen outside of the sheets.
Yeah. Nintendo has their copyrighted.
Listen, I just want to
Yeah.
say it's pretty fucked up that a corporation can make you come to court. Like, I don't think that should be allowed at all. They shouldn't. They should
Well, it's
not
not
be allowed
you.
to do
You
that.
send a lawyer. That's what you hire hitmen for. Literally.
Can I just also jump in? It's funny that this guy pirated Mario Strikers Battle League.
Yeah, I saw that. I was gonna go over what he pirated. Yeah, that was a good
The
one.
others, like, those are top games, like those are
Yeah.
major hitters. But then they're going after him for Mario Strikers. Come on.
But so
There was
the
something funny about he like publicly announced that he was just going to declare bankruptcy to get out of all of this.
yeah, why
Yeah,
why not?
That's the American way, baby.
That's the way to do it. That's not legal advice though. But all right, going back to this.
Yes, something about publicly announcing it probably isn't the.
That's what everyone does.
That's what I said. It's
Ideal-
the American way.
It's the
That's how you
American
file
way.
for bankruptcy. You just shout, "I declare bankruptcy."
I got no money.
No, but you
can't
don't
have
say
any.
I'm going.
You can't
What you
take
don't
what I
say
don't have.
is I'm going to get out of this legal trouble by saying I am going to declare bankruptcy.
So I mean, honestly, he's probably kind of judgment proof because I don't know the
He's
level
probably
of
too
his
stupid
streaming.
for judgment, is what it sounds like.
No, I mean yes, but so
Only God can judge me now.
Don't give them ideas. I mean, they probably would take execution as a manner of.
no,
Absolutely.
this is
Nintendo
Nintendo
would.
America, not Nintendo Japan.
They still would, but they'd just be quiet.
Yeah. So he
They'd
doesn't
rendition
answer.
him to a black site.
He doesn't answer, and because Nintendo has their copyright
Salvador.
registered, they could get statutory defenses. Really, one of the biggest protections, benefits you get from registering your copyright is that you get to get statutory damages. You don't have to prove actual damages. So, dude defaulted. They get statutory damages. The minimum is $750 per work infringed, and then it's up to $30,000. Where if you willfully infringe, $150,000 is the max per infringement. So the judge, and I haven't read this whole opinion because it's long, and I read legal documents all day, so I don't want to. But whatever her calculus was, equals $17,500 per however many they allege. She probably did the minimum. She obviously didn't give willful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different copyrights.
It's definitely not minimum. Minimum is $750.
Does it also count per time it's infringed?
Yeah, it's
Because
like
this says that
infringed,
that they
yes.
did that illegally obtained and streamed all these games at least 50 times in the last 2 years. Because then also part of this says this breaks it down. The damages are the damage for the one game. I don't know which game. Oh no, they only sued him for 1,000-Year Door, which they are. This says damages for the one game stand at 10,000, while the remaining 7,500 related to the promotion of emulators and quote circumvention of technological protection measures and trafficking and circumvention technology.
So yes, there you go. There you have it.
Imagine your parents get divorced because your dad emulated some games and Nintendo sued him.
But again, it's such a petty amount for them. That means nothing.
No, it's more about sending the message to
Yeah.
other people.
Because
Yeah,
my point
yeah.
being, they probably will never collect on it. Like, he doesn't have assets, I'm sure. It's not like he has wages that they could garnish, unless they could garnish Twitch payouts. But
Well,
I don't
Oh,
know
really?
if
I
you
mean,
could
knowing
do
who
that.
owns Amazon,
Definitely
they can
can.
absolutely do that.
Yeah.
No, but I
Definitely
don't
can.
know by law if that, because that's not wages, because you're an independent contractor. You can't garnish contracts.
Self-employed.
Yeah, that's my point. I'm not saying that they wouldn't do it, and if like Amazon had the, I'm sure they have it
Unless
ready
they're paying
to go.
them in cash, the government definitely can tell a bank to say, hey, you're taking a slice and you're giving it to us.
But I mean, like, you wouldn't be able to do that like a check. Like, all my clients do shit via check, you know?
No, you absolutely can.
But it's not, all right, so it's not garnishing wages, it's garnishing your assets once
Yeah,
it's
because
collected.
they would just monitor your deposits.
But what I'm saying is, like, Nintendo probably isn't going to go through that because it'll be $20,000 in attorney's fees to do that, or, you know, an attorney takes it on contingency, but to collect that small amount, what's 30% of 17.5? You know, that's the max the attorney will be able to take.
Yeah, no, this is
like $5,200
We're sending them a message. We're sending them a message.
Yeah, so they'll probably not collect
We'll
on
break
it,
his
I'm
fucking
sure.
kneecaps.
And if he does declare bankruptcy, they for sure won't. They're not going to care to show up to the creditor, like to send an attorney to
They're
the
gonna
creditors
tank
meeting.
his credit score, and this man's gonna end up homeless, and it'll be a sad story.
I don't tend to feel bad for things that you willingly and knowingly do. I don't tend to feel bad for things that you willingly and knowingly do.
Yeah, I tend to draw a line between things that are like currently accessible in some ways, but then you get to the argument of what is considered accessible, right? I don't want to open this up to be like where do we stand on the ethics of piracy and emulation and all that? Because people would say, who was it? It's like one of the people from one of the developers of an indie game called Ultra Kill. I forget the guy's name, but it's this quote basically saying that, like, you know, culture shouldn't be like gate kept to those who can afford it, right? So like they don't mind, like it was in response to somebody saying like to them, I'm going to pirate your game, and they're like, if you can't afford it, okay, you know, again, like culture shouldn't be only
leads to
those
an
who can afford
interesting.
it.
Because like, what if you can't afford it and you just don't care and you just want to steal
Well, then
it?
you're a shitty person.
Doesn't matter. It's
That's
a
what that
slippery
means.
slope
It
argument.
means you're
Yeah.
morally corrupt and a dickhead.
Because that's
a
what,
slippery
generally
slope
speaking,
argument,
a
and
Twitch
it's
streamer
false
making
logic.
money off of this is doing.
No, but that's a slippery slope. It's false logic, and it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
No, I'm pretty sure that if I say I can absolutely afford to buy a loaf of bread to feed my family, but I want to steal it anyway, that's different than I can't afford jack shit. I need to steal this to keep my family alive.
I'm not saying that it's the same, but what I'm saying is like that the fact that people are always going to do bad things, you know? So you're not going to be able to stop them. So if you're saying that it's okay for, you know, in this culture argument, I would agree with the, you know, it should be free. Like people should be able to access it if they can't afford it. You're not going to limit those people based on the few bad actors that you might have that can afford it and choose not to.
That's like the student loan forgiveness argument that people makes. Like, it's like, why should we give people, it's like, I can afford to make my student loan payments, therefore nobody should get.
I mean, peep my username. I can afford to make my student loan payments.
Folks, I don't think it actually
Mine will
shows
be
up
paid off in 3 months.
I don't even think it shows up on our visual thing, but yeah, his thing right now is Moneybags McGee. So
I've been hating on the poors all week, mad at Switch 2.
mm-hmm.
Everyone who's like, $80 is too much for a game is like, I'm going to buy 4 copies of it just because you can't.
I will say, I think Nintendo really pulled the rabbit out of their ass on the pricing thing, because ultimately they ended up looking like heroes by keeping it flat and
only raising prices on accessories.
Amiibos. Well, like, and who knows, like, because
you were
Trump
obviously
is
insulated from the Amiibo market, but Amiibo buyers are fucking losing their shit right now.
You're right. I haven't been watching Amiibo futures personally.
Yeah, speaking of $80 games, that's what like people are most pissed off about now. We didn't talk about how it was relevant for the question about like third-party support, how we're seeing confirmation that almost all, not all of them, but almost all third-party games released for Switch 2 will not be full on card, that they are physical, and they are game key cards that are physical in name only, that they require online downloads.
You know what I have to say about that? Gay.
Yeah, it does suck. It is pretty shitty. I don't love it, but that particularly then people are like, okay, then you've got Zelda Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition selling for $70 or $80. That's one of the things that sucks about their variable pricing scheme is I can't fucking keep track of what's what, because some of these games that are, you know, remasters or whatever being sold for ports being sold for $40. Some games that are enhanced versions are getting sold for $70 or $80. Because I think it's like Breath of the Wild is $70 and Tears of the Kingdom is $80.
That's because they're means testing you on the pricing. You just have to,
Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are both 80.
They are? Okay. I could have sworn that one was cheaper than the other.
No. The difference being that Breath of the Wild Switch 2 edition does not come with DLC included.
Right. So I know that. And that was going to be the whole...
Because that's essentially what the price gap there would be, because Tears of the Kingdom doesn't have DLC.
Yes, people are like...
That is such a fucking hilariously little, like, scum move from Nintendo. They always do just a little bit of, like, scumminess, and that's hilarious.
They're selling Zelda Breath of the Wild, no DLC, for $80, and then everybody's favorite hated hero, Todd Howard, comes out this week, and Shadow drops Oblivion Remastered for $50 with DLC.
Hell yeah.
And everybody's
Don't forget that
up
Oblivion
the
was the
Todd
game
slot.
that popularized microtransactions while you're all celebrating.
That is so funny. They even are selling a new version
Of the horse armor.
with extra horse armor. They're doing it again.
Extra horse armor.
The original horse armor is included, but now they're selling a more deluxe version for more money, another add-on that gives you more horse armor. I do like that. That's committing to the bit.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that and find that kind of funny. I'm not going to buy that shit, but like that's hilarious.
Are you gonna play it?
Me, not currently, because I've currently been Frankified. I'm playing Clair Obscure Expedition 33.
Welcome to the blue side.
Dude, the French are cooking over here. It's so good. Literally, Matt, this game was made in a lab for you. Just like amazing turn-based combat with, lots of build crafting and synergizing and strategy, but then with like really cool and tight like parry and dodges with like great feedback. Visually looks great. Story, I'm only about like 6 hours into it so far, so the story is good.
There was a post on r/Souls like that was like
music.
Expedition 33 is turn-based Dark Souls, and they were downvoted into Oblivion because, and one of the top comments was like, "This isn't Kazan sucking off." Can't remember. Yeah, glazing. There we go.
Yeah, dude. I find that sub completely unusable as of late. Because
generally speaking, yeah, I hate most of their opinions and think all of them are too stupid to use the internet.
But it's really good. It's really, really fucking good. Like, think if you like the combat of Metaphor ReFantasio, it's even better. It's somehow even better.
Damn it.
Particularly for someone like you, Andrew, where it's not just turn-based. You have to be paying it. There is skill involved. Beyond intellectual skill of, how to work abilities together. There is dexterous skill involved. And when you get into a flow state, and like you're hitting parries that give you these sick counters, and you are moving and weaving all their different abilities together, because that's the cool part, is that your party members each have their own systems and flows to try to manage.
What you guys haven't picked up on yet is he cleverly found a way to transition Oblivion so he could just talk about Expedition 33.
Well, that's what I was always going to say. It's like you guys got me going a little too much, but no, I'm not gonna play Oblivion at the moment, because
it runs like dog shit.
One of the biggest things is, it performs like dog shit apparently. Even like, I wasn't gonna play it on PC most likely anyways. I was going to play it on PlayStation, but I've heard disappointing things about performance on PlayStation, even on the Pro.
My favorite descriptor has been, looks like your screen is smeared with Vaseline when you move.
Yeah, is that like motion blur though that you can turn off?
No.
Can you turn it off though?
No.
You can't? Immediately go into settings, turn motion blur and film grain off.
I have a PS5 Pro. I don't need motion blur.
Did you turn off the film grain in Indiana Jones?
I think I left it at like 2 or 3. But yeah, I turned motion blur off, and I turned the film grain down immediately.
Did you do cinematic or full screen?
Full screen. I didn't do none of those black bars. Get out of here. Because the environments look good, so I like seeing it on my big TV.
I like it for the cutscenes.
Okay, I'm not sure if the cutscenes shrink it down, anyways. But another.
I've been
topic of
enjoying
conversation.
the discourse online for the people who are starting to realize that they've been like their PC has finally aged out of function, and realizing that their PCs are no longer a target to get used for these modern like Oblivion Remaster and Doom Dark Ages are the two upcoming ones where people have been like, cool, I guess my 1070 is garbage now, or my 1080 Ti is just not a real thing to use anymore.
That's a spreadsheet machine, and that's it. That's all it's good for nowadays.
But how old are those though? Those are
so old. Those
you're
are
at
so
7
old.
years.
They're more than that.
1080 was 2017, I think.
16, 17.
I don't know, man. I feel like if you're past the 5-year mark with technology.
Pushing it, yeah.
It's
You're a
about time
peasant.
to upgrade.
Yeah.
It's
Me,
about
Yeah,
the
like,
computer
you're kinda-
that I use at work is 13 years old. No, I'm sorry, 15. 2010.
Yeah, but you're just doing office work.
Yeah, but it's slow
What
sometimes.
operating
Westlaw,
system is that?
it's 10. But
Windows 9.
it can't upgrade
Vista.
to 11.
We have 3 computers at my office that run Windows 98
Hell yeah, the best operating system ever.
because the machine they're hooked up to has software that is incompatible with anything on an x86 software or newer.
Best operating system ever to happen. Linux users can kiss my ass.
Suck a D.
Love
I mean,
me some Windows
To
98.
tell them to do that, they would first have to touch grass and leave their house, which they never will.
But yeah,
They're
back
too
to
busy
Oblivion.
troubleshooting their OS.
So the two things, because we're running out of time here, and I don't really care too much about this. It's just like, if performance picks up, I may eventually buy it. If it gets a physical release, I would even be more inclined. But at this point, I'm not entirely sold. I've got other things that I have to play for the podcast, and then I'm also just more interested in playing. But the two points that I wanted to bring up was just the irony I have felt seeing all the people who rightfully criticize Bethesda, and, specifically Todd Howard, for releasing the same game a million times. And they're like, Todd, enough is enough. Stop selling us Skyrim. Please go work on Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5. But then as soon as they come and release Oblivion, they're back to guzzling down the Todd slop
and asking
and
for
are
them
like,
to remaster other old games.
and like, thank you, Todd. You're the best. I'm sorry I ever criticized you in your shiny jackets. Please remaster Fallout 3 and Morrowind next. I don't care about new games, whatever. I only want to eat the same nostalgia slop that I've had for the past 20 years. That's all I ever want. I have no actual concrete or coherent beliefs. Just give it to me, Daddy. That's it. And I don't know.
That's what we've been sold. That's what's been sold to them for the last decade, is just repackaged shit from the last 5-10 years prior. And
But why do they
They
But
can't.
why do
All
they
the versions of Skyrim are the same, generally.
They don't
speaking.
rely. They can't believe anything else will at all make them feel like anything they felt
So,
back when
but-
they were 15. So they have to feel the nostalgia.
But they complain about it, rightfully so, for so long, and then immediately once they get something slightly different, even though it's just, again, more of the same, they're like, it's the second coming of Christ, game of the year, best thing that's ever happened to me. Todd can do no wrong. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. By all accounts, Oblivion is better than Skyrim. I believe you don't have to convince me of that. Skyrim is incredily overrated as
I have
just an
different opinions,
RPG
but my opinions on
experience.
Skyrim will get me ran off the internet.
Like, I think it's overrated. I think Bethesda magic is bullshit. I don't
I
think
agree
they.
there. I think Bethesda
have-
RPGs in general are extremely overrated.
I don't think they have strong concepts of narrative quest design. It just does not compute to them. They work best in small scale, yet the best things about them are like the side quest lines that are very good, but then to try to make that it's then you're in this barren wasteland with oases dotted throughout that you've then got to trudge through the mire of everything else just that's fucking empty and boring and bullshit to try to convince yourself that this is actually a cohesively enjoyable experience, and it's not. You will have moments of euphoric joy, but tied together by absolute slop. They need to be doing more narrative linear based kind of things in this fucking grand open world thing.
1,000
Fuck that.
planets.
I can't stand it. But I'll try it out just to see how that stands up, how my experience with it stands up to those thoughts. But not at the moment. And the other thing I wanted to just quickly talk about is it is a genius move on Microsoft's part by shadow dropping it, because we know how fucking bad they are about marketing. That was another point I wanted to bring up. That is like Matt's doing air quotes. That like those leaks were all done purposely.
Shadow dropped. We've just known that it's coming out for like 8 fucking months.
And that's those like little drip feeds of leaks were all definitely planned.
It's not even 8 months. It's probably like 2 fucking years at this point that we've known an Oblivion remake was in the works.
But it's they spent probably $0 on marketing, and it has, and currently at the time of recording, let me refresh the page. There are currently 167,000 people playing on Steam right now, with which is like the peak is like 190. So like they've been hovering basically about that peak.
I mean, it is now launch week Friday. They should be seeing a higher range of play as the weekend goes on.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's impressive that they are maintaining. That's what, and I assume it'll.
What I was going to say is that you would expect to see them go above the initial launch number.
Well, because here's the thing: is those fucking sickos probably called in sick and have been playing since launch.
They've already beaten the game.
Their weekend already started. So that might blow that metric a little bit.
Yeah. Sickos like that call out sick last minute for game releases. I schedule PTO for Switch 2 launch.
But yeah, it was just, I have to give them credit. Brilliant non-marketing marketing, right? Like they spent $0 on marketing and it already jumped up, it's in the top 5 best-selling games on
really
Steam
fun
right
to
now.
have Jeff Grubb do all your leaking for you because no one believes him anymore.
He has been on a miss streak lately. This is also impressive because it's also on Game Pass. To be in the top selling on Steam. The question is, though, can you mod games easily on Game Pass?
It doesn't have official mod support.
So that's that for a Bethesda game.
The game itself
does
not have official mod support.
Official, but there are still a bunch of popular mods going out. Because I've read that a lot of original Oblivion mods still work. Because it is a bit of a technical, marvel that this is an Unreal 5 engine remake, but it is working over whatever the precursor to the Creation Engine was. Whatever the Oblivion...
Pretty sure that's also why it's running like dog shit, because it's Unreal 5.
Because Unreal has
every
its own
Unreal 5 game
problems.
that comes out runs like dog shit.
And I think they've got a DRM anti-cheat as well that's fucking some stuff up. Yeah, impressive numbers. I'm impressive that they're, again, able to get those numbers with, again, $0 spent in marketing. Unsustainable for normal, game development and all that. Yet, again, Microsoft does not market their games. So they learn all the wrong lessons from even successes like this. But that's all I wanted to say.
It's weird because they're pretty heavily marketing Doom right now. Like Doom is getting a pretty heavy amount of new trailers, new things being shown off.
I haven't seen.
Yeah, where are you seeing that?
I saw maybe one bit of like IGN coverage, but nothing like not like what I would call a
YouTube
real
trailer today showing off the cosmic horror realm where Cthulhu is.
All right. But I haven't noticed what I would call an actual concerted marketing campaign.
They've been drip feeding out demon designs over the course of the past month.
Seen that. It's weird that I have not seen that.
It's because you haven't been playing Doom, so your algorithm hasn't.
I did, though, not too long ago.
But you aren't doing it right now, so your algorithm's already shifted to showing you berets and baguettes.
Can I return really quick? There's a cosmetic option that's literally called baguette. You have the stereotypical horizontal striped shirt, a beret, and a baguette strapped to your back.
Amazing.
Fucking
That's
beautiful.
Fantastic.
Some of the secret bosses that you fight in each level are literal mimes.
Hell yeah.
It's gorgeous. It's so good. I texted this to Matt earlier. I'm like, besides the Frenchness of it, this is a game designed in a lab for Matt. You've got great combat, good story, great music. The music, oh my God. Great voice acting. Parry, dodge mechanics that have some high skill floor.
Too bad I have to mainline Doom Eternal before the Doom episode.
There's a JRPG overworld, Matt. that you can fight enemies on. It's beautiful.
And then right after I'm finished mainlining Doom Eternal, I have to mainline Assassin's Creed Shadows for the Assassin's Creed episode.
People may get me for this one, but in my opinion, going from slop to slop. But that's great. That's another little tie-in, though. A lot of these developers were former Ubisoft devs, so proving that company does not know what to do with talented developers.
Yeah, I do think that's the funniest part of it all.
I mean, I think you're wrong there, because clearly they do know what to do with talented developers. Is let them do their own thing.
Yeah,
you look at them like you're looking at Lenny, and they're like, just look at your own studio, George. Tell me, you're gonna make your own French game.
It's the best for everybody.
It'll have baguette skins, George.
Yeah, okay. We really don't have much time at all, but Andrew, what's going on with Marathon? The Marathon Alpha.
Forgot that we still had Marathon.
It's not even worth talking about, really.
Just quick.
Marathon Alpha is out. Honestly, I watched some videos from creators, a few Destiny creators, a Tarkov player.
I'm interested in what the Tarkov player felt.
They seemed to enjoy the gameplay. It wasn't like a review. It was mostly just them playing the game. And, you know, it's engaging. I think there's some stuff to like here. The gunplay looks great. And, like, I think Bungie really excels in combat and making that really enjoyable. But
except apparently if you're a PC player where they're putting aim assist on PC as well.
You got the aim assist.
First off, PC players have been crying that how controllers have aim assist and it's basically cheating. Now they level the playing field and they're crying more. I mean...
Yeah, the aim assist is a big deal. They say they're going to change that. Visuals from in the outside environments as well as the characters are rough. It is alpha. It is alpha, but this game's supposed to come out in 5 months. Like, I don't know, man. It looks like it's gonna not be like a Concord level of failure, but I don't think this is going to even approach like a moderate success. I think this is gonna be like...
I saw you trying to think of a game to reference. I think you're thinking of Foam Stars.
Well, I was gonna compare it to Destiny. Like,
Can you believe that? Can you believe that Foam Stars lasted longer than fucking Concord?
Hilarious.
Christ.
I mean, Foam Stars was literally given out for free with PS Plus and launch.
Yeah. I just think they're asking for a lot to charge $40. There's 4 maps in that. There's only 3 at the start. One of those isn't even going to be released at the start. I don't know, man. I don't see it. I think Bungie's gonna be owned by Sony essentially after this.
They are gonna get absorbed.
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna get the soul sucking ritual performed on them.
Sure. Their board of directors executed, and they...
How many like race cars will their CEO be able to buy from the profits from Marathon? That's what I want.
Maybe a Prius.
Tough times.
Prius Prime is a pretty sick car.
So not even a Tesla that falls apart?
Nope, not even a Tesla that falls apart. Maybe a Prius.
I mean, honestly, a Prius.
You keep saying that like that's derogatory, but Prius Prime is a pretty sick car.
It truly is.
All right, folks. We won't keep you any longer. It's been another Nintendo episode with a few little Todd hate thrown in.
Yep.
Just remember, if you can't afford Switch 2, I'm better than you in every way, shape, and form. Every time you complain to me about it, I'm going to buy another Switch 2 and just put it on my shelf.
At Globo, Jim, we're better than you.
I'm still not entirely sure that my pre-order is real. I'm still a little bit nervous that it's not. It still shows up as you know, as an active order. I've got an order number. I've got
hopefully the server you put it on isn't a DEI DEI server, because Target will...
None of you can see this because it's just a blurry screen. But that still says pre-order delivering June 5th for me.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous that he got he's getting it day of.
Yeah, I'm taking the full day off too, so that when it shows up, I can immediately peel it from the UPS driver's hands so that I don't give any people a chance to porch pirate me. I'm going to literally be sitting on my front porch waiting for the UPS truck to drive by.
All right, folks, I think that'll do it for us for the month of April. We'll be back in a week for Doom, right? We'll be back with our thoughts on the most formative FPS franchise.
We're just
in
going to be
gaming-
talking
in
about
gaming
Carl
history.
Urban a lot.
Absolutely. Which we've technically already done, folks. You can go back into our backlog and find that episode. But till then, you can follow us on all the social medias, bar, Twitter, because we're still banned from the posting roles there, out of no fault of our own.
That's
Yeah,
what
check out all
someone
the
whose
social
fault
medias.
is says all the time.
But yeah, check out Andrew and my review of Split Fiction. That's up on YouTube. And I may have the opportunity to actually write something for the Patreon this week. We'll see how I feel. Maybe I'll just gush about Expedition 33 since my soapbox was so rudely kicked out from under me. We'll see. All right, folks. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.